All right, so does it seem like sometimes your boss can do whatever he or she wants to when it comes to your private business, your private stuff at work? Well, a Texas lawmaker wants to keep employers out of your private life. The bill by Dallas Representative Helen Giddings would stop employers from demanding access to current or prospective employees' personal email and social media accounts. You've heard about going for an initial interview and they ask for your password so they can check you out. This would stop that. It passed the House and is now on the way to the Senate. Some business groups that are worried about losing business secrets are opposed to this bill.
And here now to continue the conversation, IP attorney John Browning. Thank you for being here with us tonight.
Thank you, Heather. Great to be here.
Okay, so the backers say that this is going to protect your rights, but you know what? I just think it'd be really weird to have your employer come up and say, "Oh, I'd like your passwords to your email and all your social media." That, to me, I just think it should go without saying.
Yeah, I mean, why don't they just ask for the keys to your house or apartment so they can rummage around?
Right.
Yeah.
So you also teach at SMU. What are the young people, because they're much younger than us, what are they saying about this?
Well, they're concerned. I mean, they're digital natives. And,
right.
They certainly don't like the idea of Big Brother looking over their shoulders.
Right.
But at the same time, a lot of the people who are the heaviest users of social media also tend to be the least concerned about their privacy. They live their lives online.
Is that a realistic idea? Because, I mean, they do put so much, like you said, they live so much online, and which means they're putting everything out there, which would in turn say maybe this is something you don't want your prospective employer to see.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a big concern. But, the fact of the matter is that a huge percentage of people either don't know and aren't familiar enough with the privacy restriction settings or simply don't care enough to use them.
All right, so I'm at work and I get on my company computer and I get on my Yahoo and my Facebook and all of that sort of thing. Can my employer, because I'm on company equipment, do they have a right then to look at what I'm doing then?
They do, and that's in the statute, that it still protects and preserves the employer's right to do that on a company-owned electronic device.
Okay.
But nowadays, we've got a lot of these so-called BYOD policies, bring your own device to work.
Yes, a lot of people do that here.
Right, and that creates a lot of problems, even separate and apart from this bill, because you're accessing employer-owned data and you may be storing it on your personally owned device.
Equipment. All right, so how does this affect new businesses coming to the state of Texas? Because some people who are against this say, listen, if you've got all this privacy, then it might put company secrets at risk if we can't access what you're doing on your BYOD.
Well, I think, for one thing, it's a tempest in a teapot. The sky isn't really falling, because the bill does preserve an employer's right to access the accounts for any number of reasons, one of which is to enforce their own internal policies about protecting proprietary information and trade secrets. So they can still do that, and they can still have that protection. One reason why these bills have been very popular and are being proposed in 30 some odd states and have passed in a number of others, is that, there is this concern about employers going too far. And the fact of the matter is, Facebook and a lot of social networking sites already have internal rules. Their terms of service say you're not allowed to share your password with a third party.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. And, too, you mentioned these other states. Other states are doing it.
Right.
So is this kind of a problem, if you should call it that? But it seems like technology is always just kind of one step ahead of these laws that are on the book. How do you catch up?
Well, for one thing, the law is never going to keep pace with technology. Innovation just moves too fast.
Right.
And when we try to be too specific, by that point, the technology is obsolete.
Right.
So when you have very specific language about the type of technology you're trying to address, well, pretty soon it's gone.
Right. Do you think it just kind of comes down to poster beware, so to speak? If you don't want anybody to see what you don't want them to see, don't put it out there.
Exactly. My rule of thumb, and I've told this to everybody from, teenagers on up, is
the news anchors.
If you don't want to, if you don't want to see it on the front page of the paper, if you'd be ashamed of having your mother or grandmother see it, then don't post it, because one way or another, it's going to be accessible.
Words to live by. John Browning, thank you as always for coming in. Great to have you.
It.
Thanks very much. Great advice.